And welcome to Memoirs of Successful Women. Today I have a treat because I am bringing back the amazing Linda Fisk, CEO and founder of LeadHERship Global, keynote speaker, best-selling author. Oh my gosh, she's all over the place. Linda is a multi-award winning leader, keynote speaker, as you know, author, university professor, dedicated to amplifying and extending the success of other high caliber business leaders around the world. She is massive, and she is one of the authors in A Woman's Guide to Business Domination. So we are going to be talking today about her chapter, which is all about market penetration. It is so important to penetrate to the max your market if you are going to be dominating in your space. So those of you, as you get that book in hand and you start reading through all of the chapters, I just want to highlight Linda's chapter today because it's all going to be about her expertise, her wisdom as the CEO of LeadHERship Global. She's got tens of thousands of people that she works with, inspires, elevates their brand and reach and impact. And that's because she's the queen of market penetration. So welcome to my show today, Linda.
Annie, thank you so much. As always, it's such a pleasure to be with you. I hold you in such high regard. You are such a powerhouse leader. You're doing so much to elevate women and to help strengthen leadership all around the globe. I honestly am just so thrilled to be able to partner with you on this really important book. So thank you.
Oh, it is such a pleasure, and I am honored by having yourself join me in this book, and also just a suite of the most incredible women from around the globe. And that's what it's all about. It's actually about sharing our wisdom, sharing some of our journeys, but mainly just helping other women just step into that new space, right? So be able to step up, show up, be their authentic self, or even just find out who that really is. And I love all of the ethos of what you represent in being able to just really tap into that inner gold that is in every woman. Every woman around the globe has their own little gems just hidden
right.
inside. And so, oh my goodness, I absolutely am thrilled that you're a part of this incredible project and book to the market, because there is going to be so much wisdom in there. So let's talk about your chapter today, market penetration. There is so much, or market development, how there is so many aspects of business strategy. Why did you choose to share about market development?
You know, I will say that market development is one of 4 main strategies to fuel meaningful business growth. And really, whether you are an entrepreneur just beginning your journey, or you run a multinational, multi-million-dollar corporation that leads your industry, business growth is absolutely the measure of success. So whether you focus on a diversification strategy, a market penetration strategy, product development, or market development, it's really clear that you have to have an intention and purpose in the strategy that you deploy to grow your business. For me, the market development strategy is one of the most impactful short-term strategies to impact growth and scale most readily. It involves selling existing products or services into new markets, often through repositioning those products or services. And given that I have a pretty extensive marketing background, This is the strategy that I find produces the most impact most quickly. The market development strategy really allows a business to leverage existing products. So this isn't about developing an entire new product suite. It's about leveraging existing products and taking them to a new market. So there are a couple different approaches to consider in the market development strategy, but I would say that this is one of the most resourceful, inventive, and low risk ways of driving business.
And we're all about quick impact and low risk, right? I mean, as a businesswoman, oh my gosh, that's gold to my ears. It's like, yes, I want to have opportunities to be able to go, how do I get those quick wins? How do I actually extend my reach? How do I actually find these people? And the concept that you bring in your chapter, which is actually, you've got a lot of those things. You've got your product, you've got your services. It actually is then just to be able to, yeah, that's right, leverage off them, reposition yourself in certain ways into new markets. But that's a scary thing, isn't it? Right? Because it's easy for us to say, yeah, capitalize on this opportunity. We've just had a global pandemic, and now it's suddenly opened our eyes to all these new markets, new opportunities. Go for it, sister. That's a scary thing, though, isn't it? Right? Because someone else will go, oh, but I don't know what that means. I don't know how to do that. Where do I even start? So,
and I think that that's a great place to think about identifying new potential markets, is to begin thinking about your current customers. Who are your current customers? What does that segment look like? How do you describe them demographically, psychographically, in terms of lifestyle? What problem are they solving with your product or service? Once you've been able to clearly identify the problems that you solve, the way that your customers use your product or service, and exactly who your ideal client is, you will find very quickly that there are lots of different customer segments that you could appeal to. You could enter a new domestic market, you could enter a foreign market, or you could describe a new segment of potential customers in a new way. So, expanding into a new domestic or foreign market seems very easy to understand. Now, there are some risks in being able to expand into foreign markets that you may not know as well as your own domestic market. So that's something to be aware of. But it's very logical to say, I will simply grow my footprint. I will simply grow the region in which I serve. But even more importantly, and perhaps even more impact, is found when you're able to not only understand the current market that you serve, but think about new markets, new demographic profiles, new lifestyles, new ways of describing a potential market that has the exact same need, that has the exact same utility for the product or service that you're bringing to market. This can help you determine, again, what opportunities are going to be most successful and provide you with valuable insight to help you reach your goal. Is understand who your current market is, the problems that you solve for them, and who are other markets that you could potentially serve with that same product.
Oh, so well articulated. And I think that just gives so much opening for people to go, you know what, you could be sitting there on a gold mine, that you have these markets just to the side, to the left, to the right, maybe it's not even in another global market. It might be right near you, that if you have certain customers that have been coming to you and you're thinking they're a bit of an outlier, but you might not even know that. That's what I'm hearing. They might be truly representative of a whole new suite of customers because you just haven't actually sort of tapped into them or repackaged what you've got in a certain way. I certainly experienced that, I was thinking of my domestic market. And then when I started speaking on conferences during pandemic, I spoke on a lot of US conferences. So I got sort of distracted that a lot of my market is therefore in Australia and the US. And then I got the bombshell, which is actually came alive as I was already getting the sneak peek of your chapter, that went, yeah, that's exactly what I realized. If I had a client from Botswana or Sierra Leone or anywhere, and they were loving my program, well, if one did, millions might, right? And it's suddenly like, oh my gosh, why am I not capitalizing on this? And it doesn't mean that the outliers then distract you from what you're doing. It just means that if there is one, there could be many. How about you look at if this product or service that you give meets their needs immediately, or maybe there's some modifications that you need to do. And I know that you're an expert in that, going, you might need to mix things up a bit. So what does that look like for different businesses to actually repackage to meet the needs of new markets?
Well, of course, as you just said, Anna, you can take your current product and identify new markets of potential customers for that product. And sometimes that's defined demographically, psychographically, or sometimes it's just geographic expansion. Yeah. But you can also discover new uses for your current product. And that enables you to promote to new customers and expand into new markets because they're using your product differently. You know, humans are really kind of curious creatures, and they're pretty exceptional at being creative and resourceful and improvising solutions. So think about how your product is currently being used by your current ideal clients, but also understand how it could be used. Surveying and interviewing your customers can actually reveal innovative ways that people may be using your products now to solve their problems. And in turn, this could give you fresh ideas about how to market and who to market to, because people are using your products and services in fresh, innovative ways that you haven't even thought of yet. I'm reminded of a cosmetics company that, of course, you think cosmetics and you think, well, of course, they're going to market specifically to women because they're cosmetics. But in fact, if you've looked at many trends recently, you'll notice that there are a lot of cosmetics companies that have begun marketing to men. And this is really fascinating because the first 2 or 3 cosmetic companies that began watching how people were actually using their products, when they were asking their customers, how do you use my products? What are the use of those products? What they found is there is a huge market for men that were interested in cosmetics. It could be that they didn't have, perfectly flawless skin. So they were using a little powder. They were using a little touch up here or there. It could be that there were men that were in some sort of theater, or it could be men that were, they just simply liked the use of makeup. But it's interesting because the cosmetics companies would have never recognized that as an entire new use of their product, an entire new market for their product, if they hadn't asked and watched how their product was being used and how the use of their product was morphing and evolving over time among new target segments.
Yeah. Oh my God, the words that just leapt out there were asked and watched. You know how easy it is for us not to actually ask our potential customers, well, would you use this? How would you use it? Even the applying it in a different way. I think of this, I've even, when I started my podcast, it was just audio because I'm going, a podcast is audio. And then I had someone go and say, oh, like, I'm not so into the audio. I just live on YouTube. And I'm like, oh my goodness, why wouldn't I record this and provide it on YouTube? And then you get to have a different opportunities to then splice and dice. Even this interview can then suddenly be a blog. It can be an ebook on something. It can be tips and tricks. It can be tools. In one thing that you're doing, you get to reuse it in different ways to different markets on how they consume that. And it's because of what you actually just said that you actually need to ask them. You need to be, put it out to your market and go, you know what, if I did this, would this suit you? And oh my goodness, if suddenly 80% of people came back and went, oh yeah, that would be fantastic. You're like, oh my gosh, I'm starting now.
That's right. So a lot of it is that your current customers could be using your products and services in new ways. And you may be serving an audience that you didn't even recognize. And by asking the question, you can uncover opportunities that you didn't even know existed. And another important market not to forget are those customers that are within your ideal target, but aren't buying your product. So if you say, I'm interested in reaching women ages 35 to 55 who've recently gone through some sort of significant life change, like a job change or a divorce, and they are struggling with feeling stuck. Say that's my target audience. It's not, but if it were, I could say, okay, I am clear. I am defined in who I'm trying to reach. I'm clear in the problem I'm trying to solve for this audience. I know exactly who's buying my product and service. I know exactly who they are. But there are some people that fit that description that aren't buying from me. They see my offer, they know my price point, they recognize the benefits that I offer, but they're still not convinced. Asking them, who are you using to solve that problem? Why have you chosen this other offer rather than mine? Why have you never purchased from me? What doesn't resonate with you? Is it the language? Is it the positioning? Is it the offer? Is it the messaging? What is it that doesn't resonate with you? I got to tell you, that is gold, because they are your ideal client. They fit your demographic, psychographic, lifestyle criteria. They are exactly the person you're trying to serve. And if they're not buying from you, they can give you incredible insight about how to win them over, as well as this whole group of people that are not necessarily loyal to you, but could be loyal to a competitor.
Yes. So well said. And that's often an area that we don't feel brave enough to dip into, right? We think, okay, I've got to survey my current customers. What did you love about the service that you received and this and that? We're all very good at, evaluating the customer experience and how can I do that better. However, as well as that, those people who swim around your network, but that's right, but they just don't buy. So why don't they buy? And also, so is it a choice that they're actually not buying from anyone, or actually, if you know that they're in your space, but they're actually consuming from someone else? The big question is why. And I tell you what, it is the big reveal, isn't it? Because you might think they just don't like my style. It might be completely cost. You might think they just don't like the times that you're available, or the way you deliver something, but you actually go, but I can actually mix that up and change it. What are your needs? It's absolutely amazing that once you tap into the customer who isn't yet, it is the massive big reveal, because because they've got nothing to live, they'll often be like, oh yeah, thanks for asking me that. Yeah, this is why I shop somewhere else. I think you're awesome, but, and then you get the big but, I love this or this or this or this about someone else or some other store or some other product. And like, no offense meant at all, but that's exactly what you want to hear, right? Because you don't know what you don't know. And sometimes you beat your head against a brick wall, go, but all my customers love me. What is wrong? Nothing's wrong. You just haven't asked the customers who aren't quite there yet, because that's brave and it's bold, but it is a secret. It's one of the big secrets to success. Would you not agree?
Oh, absolutely. And so I think, to your point, Annie, asking questions is so critical, because you have to think, especially if you're an entrepreneur, about this being one big learning journey. And there is no right or wrong. There is no shame or blame. It is absolutely about learning. So the primary question, I think, at the beginning of a market development strategy is to ask who your customer really is. Customers can be differentiated, as we said, by age, by gender, by status, by investments, by profession, by geography, by lifestyle. Literally any factor can clearly identify your target audience, your ideal avatar. But identifying and describing in explicit detail who you're targeting for your specific products and services is critical. That's going to help you with your business planning and your market development strategies, and it will open up opportunities into new markets, new demographics, new segments, and also those people that do fit your ideal description and are not buying from you, by asking questions, asking why. That can be so powerful. And think about what you can discover: new uses for your current products, new markets for your current products, new ways of positioning your products that might uncover people that are on the fence actually becoming customers, understanding what works, what doesn't for them in terms of positioning and messaging is critical. So I think of market development as a two-step process, beginning with market research. It begins with initiating a segmentation analysis, which we've talked about, and it's about thorough market research related to your customers and your products to address questions like, what is the financial profile of my target audience? What are the income levels of my target audience? What are my competitor products that are used by my target audience? Why are my competitors using, or why are my customers using my competitor products?
Yeah.
And I think the more that you can ask and answer those questions, the more that you're able to learn about the unique problems that you can solve now, and maybe a year from now, 2 years from now, 5 years from now, to continue to evolve your entire portfolio of products and services.
And you have two advantages there that leap out at me. One, when you meet that person, when that person just comes by your way, whether it's in a lift or a party or a business opportunity, you suddenly, when you hear them sort of explain where they're at, you're like, oh my gosh, I live and breathe people who are having your challenges at the moment, because you speak to them in a way, because they are your avatar, right? So suddenly you've got this connection because suddenly they'll go, oh my God, I feel like you're in my mind, because yes, that's the challenges I have, right? I'm sure you've had that experience going, what is going on? And I absolutely love that. So that you should be living and breathing your ideal customer for sure, because you need to know that as soon as they're in front of you, it's like, oh my gosh, we just need to talk, because I just love helping people with your situation.
Another thing that I see so often with entrepreneurs is they may, as you said, live and breathe their target audience, but they may not be asking those pivotal questions that will clarify their offer. And I got to tell you, as I said, market development strategy is a two-step process. The first has to do with market analysis, market research, but the second step, which is just as important, and I think this is a step that many business owners miss, is clear positioning. They try to be all things to all people, or they're not clear about the problems that they are solving. They're very anxious to tell you about everything they do, but then the customer has to translate, okay, out of everything she just told me she does, how does that solve my problem? So creating clear positioning for your products and service to highlight your unique value in the marketplace, exactly the problems that you're solving, is so critical. Then you create a promotional strategy around it. But what I find often is people are anxious to get to the marketplace. They're anxious to begin that promotional strategy. They want to be on social. They want to do a podcast. They want to be on television. They want to start blogging. And they start talking about everything they know and everything they do and all the value that they provide. But they don't have clear positioning about what differentiates their offer from their competitor's offer. And then they're wondering, gosh, why isn't this working? Why am I not getting the kind of demand generation that I thought I would? Why am I not getting the robust sales funnel that I anticipated? Well, it's because the second step of a market development strategy, clear positioning, was completely missed. And that's also where listening to your customer and really hearing how they talk about their problem, how they talk about their need, is so important, because you need to be parroting back to your ideal audience how you are going to solve the issue, the problem, the obstacle, the roadblock that they're facing.
Yes, absolutely. And what is their core problem? And you have to fix their, help them navigate that core problem. Not all the problems. It's just like, what is the main pain point, right? And it's just the more niche you are in their pain point is your actual main product. You're on a winning note there. The other problem is if you don't step back and learn from this type of wisdom that you're sharing now and in your chapter, is you also attract all of the people who are not that ideal person. And that's a lot of noise. It's a lot of exhaustion. It's a lot of time, very poor return on investment, right? And we're all about maximizing that ROI. So you want to be able to say, I am so freed up for that exact perfect client and I'm totally there for them. When you're not doing this, and I totally agree with you, Linda, most of my clients, they love to just jump to marketing. There's nothing more exciting than getting your glossy brochure out and your beautiful website and telling everybody all these things you do. And whereas I'm constantly saying, pause, you actually need to know before you create any of that, who are you actually speaking to? Why is that person coming to you? Why were they drawn to you? What problem are you solving? And then that alters all of your language and how you present and meet their needs. Absolutely. And when you don't do that, when you don't take the advice of what you're sharing today, you actually get people who are just hanging around. And you can have, that's those people who've got so many followers, but no one buys. They're kind of
exactly. Oh my gosh, Andy, you're
they're
so right.
loosely following you. They're interested. They might even love who you are, the way you show up. But if it doesn't actually convert, it means they're just likes. They're not loves. They're not.
Yeah. And I would say, listen, competition is fierce no matter what kind of business you're in. And so finding ways of differentiating yourself from other competitors in your space is so critical. And being sure that you are connecting, as you said, with your ideal audience. But you have to know what makes you special. Maybe that's offering better support. Maybe that's more competitive pricing. Maybe it's extra features that are in demand. Maybe it's some sort of additional product stack. But it's something that's not offered by your competitors that can entice customers to switch over to you or to actually buy from you. But you've got to make your product, your offer, more appealing and gain market share from your competitors and from those markets that you may not be tapping into right now. So when it comes to positioning your product or service in the marketplace, as you said, know absolutely who your audience is, know the product that or the problem that you're solving, how your product or service serves them, and do not get distracted by audience segments that are not your ideal audience. You have to intentionally choose really from three distinct positions. Either you're going to compete on the high end, you're going to compete on the low end, or the middle. But you can't be all things to all people. Either you offer a high-end product or service, a low-cost solution, or you try to straddle the middle. But I got to tell you, you have to consider what is going to create that strong market position that will allow you to not just survive, but really thrive. And based on your market position, that will also give you a big clue about who your ideal customer is and who you need to be going after, right? Listen, Walmart is phenomenally successful, incredible competitor, but they know their place. They compete on the low end and they do so in volume. That's okay. But Ferragamo knows that their offering is only for a very select group of very well-heeled fashionistas. They know absolutely who their audience is. It's not the Walmart customer. And so being very clear about how you're going to position yourself in the marketplace and how you're going to appeal to your audience is so key.
And being extremely confident that when someone comes into that Walmart or someone comes into your company and actually wants something a little bit left of center that is not your bread and butter, refer them on. Say, I wish you well. You need to go and see this person or that person. Don't waste your time, because that's right. The more you try and extend and accommodate all those little extras, it means that you're missing the time and the energy and absolutely everything you need to be, serving your own customers and actually, developing your own market, sort of your own niche market, not trying to be all of those things. And I think that's a major downfall, particularly for those who are even at that startup phase, that you're desperate for any customer. So it's really easy to just sort of go, fall off the wagon a little bit and go, oh my gosh, this person wants to give me money, and so it's like this little shiny object that you go, I could do that. The message in what we're actually sharing today and what you're going to get in spades in A Woman's Guide to Business Domination is that you want to stay niche. You want to live and breathe that customer. You want to know them. You know, want to know every aspect of them, and also not just about them and what you can do, how you can make them the happiest, most raving fan about the experience they've had with you on the planet, so that they tell everybody else, oh my gosh, you need to go to Linda or Annie or whoever else because they changed my world, right? When you've got that pain point and someone solves that problem for you, oh my gosh, you do anything, and you pay big bucks, and you tell everybody that you love that you're now happy. And that's what it actually comes down to, doesn't it? You know, it's just that, what's that recipe of success, balance, and happiness in what, you know, what you're wanting and how you've actually received it, so that you can then go about your life.
And that's where that glossy brochure comes in, Annie. That is the step, right? So once you're clear on your positioning, that's when you develop a detailed marketing and promotional plan needed to really introduce and promote your products and services to your target audience, to those people that either you're currently serving or you are positioned to serve as a brand new market. So I really believe that that's where people, as you said, get very enthusiastic. They want the website, they want the brochure, they want the business cards. But I got to tell you, a really strategic marketing plan has got to outline all the unique audience segments that you're going to go after, the key messaging that you're going to use by audience segment, because it may differ. The way you speak to men may be different from the way you speak to women. The way you speak to someone who's retiring is probably very different from someone who's just starting in their career. So you've got to really be very clear and intentional about the key messaging you're going to use by audience, as well as the specific marketing channels, the platforms. Everybody gets really excited about doing a podcast or doing a TV show or being interviewed for a magazine. But I got to tell you, you've got to make sure your positioning and your messaging are clear first before you embark on that.
Exactly, because after this episode, for example, it's like, yes, I want to know all about, you know, my issue is market development. I now need to read A Woman's Guide to Business Domination. Linda Fisk is the expert writer in that book. Oh my gosh, this is my key issue. I need to reach out to her like now. That's how pinpoint it is. It's not about, you know, the podcast. It's actually saying, or whatever other service you're providing. It's actually saying that person is having a specific problem. They're reading it or finding out about it through the glossy ways, and then knowing who to come to specifically. Right. There's no doubt we're pinpoint. We're talking about market development today. So if that's your issue, that's your problem, you want to know more, you want to actually get all the tips and tricks, then you definitely go, right, I am buying this book that is coming out to markets globally in October this year, right in time for that Christmas rush. You're all going to want to buy that for a friend, and you're also going to want to just devour it yourself. You're going to learn so much. If this is the information that you are going to receive in just one chapter, imagine what you're going to receive when you're just reading all of these niche areas, because that's right, we've only tapped into one specific area today. You know, one of, even as Linda's referred to, even of 4 business strategies. And then there's all those other aspects of business domination that we want to tap into. And I love what you said at the beginning of our interview today, our conversation, that it's all about, you know, market research. Just keep learning about yourself, your customers, how to do things, you know, try and definitely, you know, tap into other people's tried and tested expertise and learnings. And that's what you're getting in this kind of quality of book, that you're actually getting people like you who've been doing business for decades globally. And you go, you know what? I just know this works. I know what your temptations are, you left and right. I know why you feel this urgency to just go straight to the brochure. I know why you're frustrated and go, why doesn't everybody just love me because I'm awesome? You know, that you've lived and breathed those experiences yourself, and with all of your clients, because they're common problems. So what we need to do is we actually rise above that, become aware, the awareness that everyone will struggle with these issues, but hey, how about you then realize that we've got to do some strategic planning here. We've actually got to tap into, isolate what the key issue today is market development. How do I actually do that? Unpack those tips that Linda has shared with you today. Go through the book, and actually I'm looking at that chapter now, and I tell you what, it is just pinpoint on all the points that you're going to want to receive. It is given to you on a platter. It is just such gold, and I thank you so much for sharing it with us in the book and on this platform today, because I just know it's going to be so valuable. It saves, sometimes years of business growth just by tapping into a few tricks and tips like this, right? And they're not even tricks, they're just solid.
And I would say that I know in the chapter that I was invited to write, I made sure that I provided actionable insight. This is not theoretical. This is not academic. This is actionable insight that anyone can put into motion immediately. And the rest of the authors that are part of this phenomenal anthology have similar chapters where they provided step-by-step actionable insight and real direction of how any kind of business leader can take the decades of knowledge, experience, and expertise provided in one chapter and put it into action to measurably, positively impact their business.
Exactly. You can apply this today. You can apply this whenever you're ready. Just get your head around it, dive into it, and then make it your own. What I absolutely love about the caliber of women who are in this book is that they're actually happy to share that. We don't have to be in that era of, oh, okay, you can't have my secrets. They're my little top tips, and I'm not going to share them with anyone because this is what made me successful. Absolutely the opposite. This is from women who actually are just owning their space and continue to do that, and just want to help, want to serve people, want to help them have a leg up on the way. That we are beyond those decades of people pushing others out of the way and hiding things and making it more challenging. It is a time that women are just elevating in their essence globally, and we want to support that. We want to empower them. We want to give them the tools. We want to give them the resources. We want to give them the support, the access to incredible women who are, in your tribe, in my tribe, in other tribes, wherever they are in the world. There is no competition, because ultimately that person just needs to find their space. They need to find who they identify. They need to go, what works for me? And we're all about that. So definitely you're going to want to grab your copy of this book as soon as it comes to market. I will be sharing more and more with Linda and all of my other authors over the coming months through lots of additional resources and tools to be able to help you, whether that's cheat sheets, whether it's little ebooks, whether it's little extra informational clips on video or audio, to be able to support you on your journey as you are navigating your journey to business success. And that's what it's all about. We actually want to see women globally rising, and I know that you do that beautifully through LeadHERship Global. That you are all about amplifying, extending the reach and the impact of women who are just learning how to command their own space. And the tips in this book are going to be amazing. And I thank you for sharing with me today.
Thank you so much, Annie. What a pleasure to be with you today. And what an honor to be a part of this incredible, powerful, transformative book. I am so grateful to have been included. Thank you.